All right, this is a difficult question. I'm going to show you exactly how I did it the first time I saw it, and you will see that sometimes our dumb summary strategy doesn't quite work, at least at the dumbest level, but we can always improvise and add more to it. So let me show you how I did it. I looked at the question, which finding from Granito and Alvarez's research, if true, would most directly support their claim? So I want to know, what do these people claim? Okay, go to this, let's see what we got. Black beans are nutritionally dense food, but they are difficult to digest in part because of their high levels of soluble fiber and compounds like raffinose. They also contain anti-nutrients, I don't know what that is, but sounds bad, like tannins and trypsin inhibitors. If something is inhibiting, that's usually bad, which interfere, definitely bad, with the body's ability to extract nutrients from foods. So all of this is saying something bad about the beans. In a research article, Maricela Granito and Glenda Alvarez from Simón Bolívar University in Venezuela claim that inducing fermentation of black beans using lactic acid bacteria improves the digestibility of the beans and makes them more nutritious. So fermentation is good. Cool. My dumb summary is now, well, something about fermentation making them good. I don't know. So I'm going to go look and see what I got. When cooked, fermented beans contain significantly more trypsin inhibitors and tannins, but significantly less soluble fiber and raffinose than non-fermented beans. I didn't quite pay attention to that. You know why? Because usually that stuff doesn't matter. The science doesn't matter. It's what they say, what the little examples are meant to convey, the bigger point that matters. And the bigger point is beans are hard, are difficult, are not great. So this is getting a little too dense for me. So let's see, maybe there's an easier choice. Fermented beans contain significantly less soluble fiber and raffinose than non-fermented beans, and when cooked, the fermented beans also displayed a significant reduction in trypsin inhibitors and tannins. Guys, I'm lost. I have no idea what's going on. When the fermented beans were analyzed, they were found to contain 2 microorganisms that are theorized to increase the amount of nitrogen. What? Where'd that come from? Absorbed by the gut after eating beans? I don't remember nitrogen at all, but there's so much science here that maybe I missed it. Both fermented and non-fermented black beans contain significantly fewer trypsin inhibitors and tannins after being cooked at high pressure. I'm lost. Well, it's okay. I've got a plan. Because my dumb summary was to remove most of the science and just think about the overall point. The beans are bad. There's something negative about the beans. Fermenting them makes them good. So that's all I took away because that's all I thought I would need, and most of the time that's enough. But now we can do something a little bit better. And this is why when we have the reading section, even though it's a computer-based test, we're going to need some scrap paper for the reading section so that we can take what's in there out, because you can't draw on it like I'm doing. I mean, you're going to have to use some scrap. So what am I going to do? I'm going to talk about the non-fermented and the fermented beans. What do they say? Black beans are a nutritionally dense food, but they are difficult to digest in part because of their high levels of fiber. So actually, let's do it this way. They have high fiber and compounds like raffinose. Okay, so a lot of raffinose, whatever that is. They also contain anti-nutrients like tannins and trypsin inhibitors, which interfere with the body's ability to extract nutrients. So, okay, high tannins and high trypsin, whatever that is. Okay. Then in this article, they said that fermentation using lactic acid improves the digestibility and makes them more nutritious. So this is me just taking a smart guess here. If the non-fermented beans are high in all these things, then it's probably the case that the fermented beans are low in these things. I don't know what any of these things are. I don't care. The choices, hopefully, will match up with these arrows in some way. Let's take a look. When cooked, fermented beans contained significantly more trypsin. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Right? So the fermented beans had more trypsin and tannins? Well, no, right? Because it says right here, let me circle it. It says right here, right, that they have less tannins and trypsin. So this choice is just wrong. It's the opposite direction of the arrows. The other part, I guess, is right. Significantly less fiber and raffinose. So that part checks out. But the other part is wrong. Does not match with my arrows. B, fermented beans contain significantly less soluble fiber and raffinose than non-fermented beans. So that part's true, right? Fermented, less fiber, less raffinose. So check, check. And when cooked, the fermented beans also displayed a significant reduction in trypsin inhibitors and tannins, right? Reduction means going down. So Choice B has all the arrows going the right way. That's probably right. I don't understand the science, but I understand arrows. I understand up versus down. So hopefully that's enough. Let's look at C. When the fermented beans were analyzed, they were found to contain 2 microorganisms that I can't pronounce that are theorized to increase the amount of nitrogen absorbed in the gut after eating beans. I got nothing about nitrogen. It's not in my arrows. This is probably just a random fact. Both fermented and non-fermented black beans contain significantly fewer trypsin inhibitors and tannins after being cooked. Well, they're clearly making a contrast between non-fermented and fermented. So when we lump them together and say that both have something, that's probably wrong. Plus, the arrows suggest that there's high trypsin and tannins in the non-fermented. So this part here goes against choice D. So this just seems, again, wrong. So there you go, B, saved by the arrows. And so the lesson here is, first of all, don't panic if your first pass at a passage doesn't get you anything. Most of the time it will. So that's why we stick to dumb summaries. Most of the time, dumb is good. But if it doesn't quite get us where we need to be, we can increase the smartness of our summary a little bit, right? I don't think there's too much smartness in these arrows, but it was enough for me to understand the answer choices in a much more clear way, right? So this is the scrap paper strategy that we're going to need for the reading section. Is just like in math, you cannot hold a million ideas in your brain. You cannot do arithmetic in your brain. These arrows are basically the reading equivalent of arithmetic. Instead of trying to hold all these ideas in our head, we're going to put them on a piece of paper so that they're just existing there, and that lets us focus on the subtle differences between the choices. So we're going to use scrap paper in reading just as much as we do in math. Take that away. That's going to be important.